welcome to Lifeline Baptist Church. It is so good to see you all here today. On behalf of myself, my name is Josh Basic, and I'm the associate pastor here at Lifeline Baptist Church. And on behalf of our pastor, Brother Jeff Dial, who is close by, as well as all of our membership and all of our community and business partners, we're so thankful for your presence here today. And we're so thankful to be this year's recipient of Poor Man on a Roof. So again, welcome, and thank you so much for being here. I wanted to share a little bit about our food distribution, which is a part of our Mission Little Rock ministry. It's one facet of that ministry. We, in the last month, I can tell you, gave out food to approximately 299 families, and that affected approximately 1,170 people. And so receiving this food is absolutely a blessing, and it's going to be a help to us for some time to come, and so we're so thankful for that. We all know that COVID has changed everything, and certainly it has changed things for us as well. You would think maybe we would see an uptick in the number of people who come and receive food, but actually what we have seen is actually something going down as far as the number of people who are coming through, and we don't have anything that we can attribute that to. Maybe it's just that individuals are trying to stay close to home and trying to stay healthy, but nonetheless, we're not feeding as many people as pre-COVID, but as with everything else, hopefully when things begin to normalize, we'll see those numbers go back up, and we'll be able to get all of this food to the individuals who need them. I wanted to, before we move forward, if I could introduce a few folks that are behind me. As I said, I'm an associate pastor, but we have at Lifeline Baptist Church an amazing team of volunteers, and there is nothing that goes on here that would not take place without their presence and without their hard work. They do it many times without a lot of thanks, and certainly without a lot of recognition. And so on this special day, I wanted, if I could, just to take a few moments and to recognize those folks. And so I'm going to turn as I'm talking to you and point some of those folks out to you, because I know that they don't want to speak themselves. So I'm going to start over here on my far right, your left, and this is Mr. Clifton Galleon. Mr. Clifton Galleon is a longtime member of Lifeline Baptist Church, has been serving here faithfully for many years, and has done so also in our food distribution as a part of Mission Arkansas. And so we are so thankful for him, and none of this would take place without him. He has what I might describe as his right-hand man, the individual who is coming up in the ranks and probably will one day take over for Mr. Clifton. And this is, well, where did he go? It's Mr. T.L. Thacker. T.L., he's back in the back. He's trying to be shy. But he also works very tirelessly to help out Mr. Clifton Galleon each week, and going and getting the food, making sure it's ready to be served and things like that. I also wanted to point out Mrs. Martha Douglas. Before I go on to the other food distribution volunteers, Mrs. Martha Douglas. Some of you all may have heard about our community and business leaders luncheon that takes place every month. That has been so instrumental in our being able to make connections in our community, not only with community leaders, but with business leaders, just being informed about the different things that are going on so that we can work together for the common good. And so we want to point out Mrs. Martha Douglas. Where are you at, Miss Martha? Right here. She is a part of our Little Rock ministry team, and we're so thankful for her. And so I want to point out those other volunteers who do all of the hard work with Mr. Clifton and Mr. TL's, if I can see them. So we have back here Mr. Bill Rothwell. We have right here Mrs. Frankie McGee. Back there by TL is Mrs. Donna Harvey. This is Mrs. Margaret Ward. We have Lindy Broyles in the back, who is representing another facet of our Mission Arkansas ministry, and we're thankful for him. We have right here Mrs. Adeline Luzader, Mrs. Doris Osborne, her husband, Mr. Richard Osborne. And am I missing anybody of our team? I think I've got everybody. And so, again, we're so thankful for them and all the hard work that they do. But just one final time, thank you all for being here. Thank you for your support. Thank you for allowing us to be the recipients of this year's Poor Man on a Roof Award. And with no further ado, I want to get out of the way for a very special man, Dr. Michael Poore. Dr. Michael Poore, come on up.
Thank you. I got promoted. I'm retired, and I got promoted. I still haven't got to that doctor status, but I certainly do. Boy, am I feel good about being here today. Being here in the southwest part of our community, being a part of Pastor Dial and Pastor Josh's ministry. And I have benefited greatly from the efforts of this church as it reaches out to business leaders all over this area to come together and just talk and have open dialogue about things that are going on. Sometimes it's some challenging news and sometimes it's a great news, but we're always talking, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate the opportunity that Little Rock School District gets to be here. You know, this is something that has taken a life of its own, and some of you realize I've been doing these food drives clear back from when I was at Doherty High School as a teacher. At that time, we did it as a food drive to, go support a large organization, and there was one teacher in particular, Dennis Vigil, who I want to give shout out, who started this food drive, and he was trying to get others involved. And he ultimately tried to make it a competition. Well, that competition got me excited because it was competitive. And so we had all my classes compete. We were in a secret way of doing things, and we had spies and everything else, and people figuring out how to go purchase food and get donations. And from that, it kicked off at Doherty High, where I won that year, but that was the only year I won because Mr. Vigil came back. But it kicked off the largest food drive that Colorado Springs has, and they basically load up, to this day, 2 big 18-wheeler trucks every year full of food. They're still doing it. And I'm proud about that. But I'm proud that we've also done this in Bentonville and now in Little Rock. Little Rock, we have had churches such as Helping Hands right down here in Southwest Little Rock that we donated to my first year. We've been at church at Rock Creek. We've been at the Mosaic Church. We've been at Watershed with Pastor Stewart. We've been at St. Mark Baptist. And now this year with Lifeline Baptist. Get this, in the 5 years, this isn't even counting this year, we have brought in over $100,000 of food items that go back out to the community. And that timing of this is intentional in the fact that we know it can get cold then, and these students have picked out what they believe is going to be the coldest day I have to deal with, but it's also about, we go through the holiday season, everybody's all about donating and coming up with ways to support folks. But then January and February hit, that's when food pantries typically have the biggest challenge of bringing in food. And so it's very exciting to me that we have this opportunity, the Poor Man on the Roof, again this year. This will again serve residents in particular down here in the southwest sector, and that's very exciting. Now, there's 3 elements to the Poor Man on the Roof. One is that we want to bring in canned items, and the target has always been, you fill my office, then I got to go head to the roof. The second thing that we want to do, and there'll be Mr. Carlock who will help talk about this, we have Bright Futures program where we want to get personal hygiene items, toiletries, and so forth into our students. That goes into our Bright Future. And then we'd also like to try to raise $1 for each student. Now think about that. If we raised $1 for each student, that'd be $20,000, and the amount of money would be spread out amongst the 3 organizations. Lifeline Baptist will get a third will go to our Bright Futures program, and a third goes to our VIPS program. With that, I want to introduce Mr. Philip Carlock, who's the principal at Stevens Elementary. He's also the head of all of our principals in Little Rock School District this year, and he is the leader of our Bright Futures program. And I want to have him just share a little bit of words about how this impacts young people, in particular with the things that we do with this $1 thing, as well as being able to bring in personal hygiene products. Principal Carlock.
Thank you, Mr. Poore, or Dr. Poore, whichever one you prefer. Since 2017, Bright Futures Little Rock has been working with the Little Rock School District to connect students with the community. The Bright Futures model brings community partners together with businesses, human service agencies, faith-based organizations, and partners them with schools in ways to help them quickly and efficiently meet students' basic needs within 24 hours. Our partnership with Goodwill allows us to easily access resources and stockpile supplies that are ready for immediate distribution. Additional resources and supplies are housed at one of our centrally located elementary schools. Mr. Poore truly displays the attributes of a servant leader, especially during the Poor Man on the Roof campaign. I think it's like Christmas for him. He gets excited and all giddy inside, and everyone gets to moving. Mr. Poore, the Poor Man on the Roof campaign always ignites the community, as Mr. Poore talks about, and causes donations to surge during a time when things are often stagnant. One example, the toiletries that are donated from Poor Man on the Roof are used for our motel packets that we give to families that are homeless or in transition. So I want to give a special thanks just to the community that brings forth all kind of donations that go directly to our students. I want to thank Lifeline Baptist Church, our friends here, and especially Mr. Poore. Thank you. And Mr. Lubin, a special friend, not only a community partner with Gibbs Magnet, but a community partner with the Little Rock School District. So I do want to introduce him, and he's side by side, Batman and Robin with Poor Man on the Roof. So.
Maybe I'll get promoted to be a doctor with this. But you know, it's always a pleasure to be a part of this program because of what it does for our students and what it does for our community. And it's also, it's a lot of fun. And we want to challenge the community. You know, we've done, every year, we keep getting better and better and keep raising the bar. And this year, we want to continue to raise that bar. You know, we've picked out the coldest day of the year, and these students have done an excellent job and always have done an excellent job. And I'll tell you, I've got my special roof hat that I always wear when we go up the roof, and I'm hoping that people that come by this year, that honk their horn, that bring their canned goods, bring their financial donations, they'll get an opportunity to wear the hat. So it's the swan song this year for our superintendent, Dr. Poore. So this year, we really want to raise the roof. So let's raise the roof this year.
You know, what scares me a little bit about the thing of Batman and Robin is I probably am Robin, which really worries me because he's Batman. I'm so grateful for Mr. Lubin and his partnership. And you know, Mr. Lubin, actually, the first time he did this, he paid for the right to be up on the roof. And I want you to know he's already made his cash donation into this opportunity. Again, we're trying to just say $1. If everybody right here pitched in $1 that's here at this press conference, we're on our way in terms of having the total of getting over $20,000. And that's really important. We know this is a big deal. Our mayor is going to be head in, totally all body. He wants a part of this. Dr. Jay Barth is willing to help us. We want you all to help us too. And so we have a couple special announcements today, things that you know no one else knew about, and I'm the worst at keeping secrets, so I'm so glad I get to share this. And I think that the folks at Lifeline, you're going to be very excited about this. I think that the kids at Baseline Elementary are going to be very excited about this because all this spurs off of them doing some of the research, and I'm going to come back to them in just a minute. We've partnered with Kroger. Kroger will again this year have boxes at every one of their stores in Little Rock where people can drop off their donations. That starts now, okay? This whole thing starts now. You can start to bring down your items to the Little Rock School District today. Start to fill my office. Make sure you separate out those toiletry items and personal hygiene, put them in a separate box, separate bags, but start to bring your food items in. Kroger is in by giving us the spot again at their stores. But here's what else Kroger's done. And this will impact both Mr. Carluck's program with Bright Futures and this organization right here. Kroger has donated $10,000 worth of gift cards, which will be split between our two organizations. You will get gift cards to help with your community and, of course, with Bright Futures. Big, big deal. Right up the street here is a company that all of us drive by on a regular basis as we go past on Interstate. And I appreciate Mr. Lubin and his effort to help me with this partnership. The CEO and president of that company is a gentleman by the name of George Kress. George Kress and the Riggs family have run Caterpillar Riggs for a long stretch of time. And they're right up here the road on University. They have donated $7,000 this past weekend to go towards this effort. We want companies to step up. We want individuals to step up because all these things will make a difference. And we can, together, blow the roof off of 810 West Markham so that I don't even have a roof to work from. Would be that concept, I guess. But we can all do this and make it kind of special. Now, the partnerships and everything that happened today got started with this group right here from Baseline. I want to introduce the Pfeiffer Camp AmeriCorps volunteers that are part of that school. Principal, we have a wonderful opportunity right here with Miss Freeman. She's always been a part of the donations, as has Pastor Dial's wife at McDermott Elementary. Our principals have always bought into this, and I sent a note to them today to say, hey, please step forward. Every year we go to the students to say, hey, what's the best day to get up on the roof? So to speak to the best day to get up on the roof, I'm going to ask Joseph to come up. And would you please share a little bit about your research?
Yes, so we find the...
You can take your mask off right now just for a second.
So we find the day
Speak
of
up
the...
real loud.
So we find the day to... That's 5 years to research the coldest day in the year. And we find the date that is January the 31st. And I hope it snows.
Well, that was kind of blunt. Maybe we should have kept his mask up. You know, I mean, no one wants to see a bald man on the roof more than these baseline elementary kids. We're very appreciative of Mayor. If you'll join us, I'm going to ask you just to say a few words too. But I think the mayor will be a perfect person to follow up with these two young ladies who are going to talk right now, Rochelle and Karina, about why this is important, even to kids, why they think this is important. So ladies, would you please step up?
You go first. I go first. Pull down your mask. It's important to donate food because it helps the community. Yeah.
How does it help?
Karina, you said that helps the community because people can eat.
We hope Mr. Poore's office gets filled up with canned foods so he could go and onto the roof and also help our community by donating the canned foods, and hopefully most of them will get into food banks so people can get them.
Thank you so much. That's the words we needed to hear. And, you know, we'll kind of wrap this up first with the mayor, and then I'll say a final word. But I appreciate that the mayor has reached out on this every year, even before he took office, to say, how can I help? And he continues to be such a wonderful partner. I think he and I both understand that this is sometimes really tough times for people in our community. Now's a really good time to step up. Mayor Scott?
Let's give our students a round of applause. I'll be short, but the main thing today is, as we talk about Dr. Poore on this roof and the initiative and ensuring that those who are in need of food resources have them. We have to understand that, unfortunately, there are certain pockets in our city that are food deserts. We also have to understand that we have students that the only meal that they will receive is while they're in school. And so this is an initiative to ensure that no one, irrespective of their zip code, has resources that they can be provided to. And so we're grateful for the leadership of Dr. Poore, his steadfast leadership. This is something he's been very transformative about, that he's been reaching out to the community, but not only reaching out to the community, he's been following back up with true responses to the needs of the community. And food is a true need for all of us. You cannot have a healthy student without food. You can't have a high-achieving student without food. And that is a true resource to truly sustain our students, but not only our students, their families, and ultimately our community. So I say thank you to Dr. Poore and the Little Rock School District for the great leadership that you all have been bestowed upon throughout your tenure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor. And Mayor, I don't know if you got to hear our big announcement, but Kroger will have boxes at every one of their stores so people can do drop-offs. Kroger also donated $10,000 worth of gift cards that will be split between Lifeline Baptist and the Little Rock School District and our Bright Future program. The Bright Future program is cooperated with the city and with Goodwill. No other place in this whole country has such a setup. It's all about caring about kids. It's about doing the right thing to make sure that every kid doesn't have anything that hinders them from doing their very best each and every day. This food drive makes that happen. The idea of trying to bring in personal hygiene items makes that happen. Your donation makes that happen. Blow the roof off. Get me up on top of there. Let's get it done. January 31st is our date. We need your help. Thanks, everybody, for being here today. Oh, I forgot. I have one more announcement, and media members, I know Ms. Smith will follow up. We do have a Cash App to make this very easy, and I'm starting to scratch on top of my head, so I need to talk fast, is that the Cash App is it's a money sign, Poor Man on the Roof. And so you'll be able to find that on our district website, and that makes it easy. Anybody can donate. You don't have to come to 810 West Markham. Get involved with the Cash App, and everybody go pitch in $1. That's simple request to go make a big difference in our community. Thanks, everybody.